Psalm 91. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him I will trust. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. Only with your eyes shall you look and see the reward of the wicked. Because you have made the Lord, who is my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near you, your dwelling. For He shall give His angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra, the young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot. Because He has set His love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation.
We want to welcome all of HisGlory Nation from east to west to north to south. Welcome to today's Take 5. This is like the 5th show we've done today. It's almost like I've been in Israel for 12 days and we needed to do a lot of shows. So 3 Take 5s today. We finish off with a bang. Just before I did the Bible study, I got confirmation from our team in Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu will be coming on HisGlory. He's got to get his government in place. As soon as his government's in place, he's coming on. So it's now time to introduce Bo Polny and Andrew Sorchini. Welcome back, gentlemen. Good to see you both.
Thank you.
I've been going through withdrawal. It's been too long.
Well, we've missed you.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, actually, well, I went to Israel, and then as soon as I came back, you went to Israel, Pastor Dave, and so you finally came back, and it's time to get back together and talk.
Yeah, there's no place like Israel, is there, Bo?
Wow, wow. That's all I can say. We did an incredible 2 hours with Jonathan Kahn, and the tour, the information thing, it just the Bible that came to life is wild.
Yeah.
All the things. So now when you read the Bible, you know, or you watch movies in the Bible, it's just the fact that we were there. It changes everything. Our perspective and my perspective on the whole thing. So really, you know, those who haven't gone to Israel, wow, you got to go.
And so, as far as end time Bible prophecy, and hang on, you know, we've mentioned many times when you both have been on about Daniel. You know, knowledge will go to and fro in the end days. We were with a lot of Israeli generals because I'm the co-chairman of Newsreel of the board. So we met with 7 or 8 Israeli generals, and 2 of them told me that one of the biggest finds ever in the history of Israel they found behind the Wailing Wall just recently, and they can't announce what it is because of national security. So whatever it is, it's huge. So yeah. Amazing.
Well, you know, that's the thing, Pastor Dave. You know, that when you go, then you realize, you know, everything that we read in the Bible happened. Yeah. It's history. It's not a story. No, it's history. It's incredible. Why? Because we live in an incredible time point. You know, when we read the Bible, when you read Leviticus, it talks about the year of Jubilee.
Yep.
Well, we've now seen since remember, you got to go back. It's life, that which has been will be again. That's biblical, right? And so when you study the story, it's 400 years that the Jews were in bondage to Pharaoh. And then they were released. Well, 400 years ago, the Mayflower landed. That's 8 cycles of 50 years.
Wow.
So we are at an incredibly important biblical time point. And so we're watching all these crazy things now start to pop off, right? And when did they all start? Right after Rosh Hashanah.
Yep.
Rosh Hashanah, you can take and put a solid line down, because September 24th, 25th marked the beginning of their fall, and now we're just seeing all the pieces come out. And soon enough, that one magic card that is going to come down. That first massive card comes down, and then the house of cards is just going to collapse. And then we're going to see the fulfillment of end times, because we're in it. But, Revelation 17, or is it 18? It says, but in a single day, the kings of the earth will weep and wail.
Yeah. I think they're getting their vocal cords ready. It's amazing how fast things are moving now.
Yep. Yeah, we'll through the discussion today, I've got a slide deck that I sent over, and we can go through a handful of pages just to kind of illustrate how all of this is not by chance, and it's not random. It's the farthest thing from random that's going on right now. It's all by what? You said it before, Daniel, right? Daniel 2. It's all by God's design.
Exactly.
He wrote the end from the beginning, and we just happen to be living at the 400-year mark where all of this is about to blow up.
Yeah, I got a out of the blue email today from a guy a good friend, but I haven't talked to him in years. He used to be with Merrill Lynch. He said, I never talk to you, I always talk to you about stocks, but you better look at gold and silver, because my chart's saying this thing's about ready to take off. And I said, yeah.
Absolutely.
Here we are.
What are you seeing on your end, Andrew? What's the feeling, and what are the calls you're getting? What are people saying?
Well, I think this is a common.
By the way, just those who don't know Andrew, Andrew is the owner of Beverly Hills Precious Metals, who basically is, in my opinion, one of the best people out there, because he is a man of his word. He delivers.
Yep.
And that's the essence of precious metals, is receiving what you paid for.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks so much, Bo. I appreciate that. It's I feel like this is a calm before the storm. And typically, January is a time when most people out there want to take time to analyze their portfolios and make whatever moves that they're going to make for the year, kind of set them up for the year, so to speak, like a New Year's resolution type thing. And people have worked so hard to build up what they have as far as gold and silver. So many people from that listen to Gold 2020 forecast and HisGlory family have contacted us, and we're grateful for all of it. But I'll just tell you that the gold and silver prices do feel like they're about to blast off. They're simmering right now.
Yep.
What I can say about gold and silver is this, okay? The chart patterns, there you can write down, the viewers are listening, write down the number $25, okay? That is the breach mark. When silver breaches $25, okay, and it holds, and it gets above it, and it holds above it, okay, it's gonna basically explode and go to between $60 to $70 in a single day. And that's the day that we've talked about where Andrew is just not going to be selling any precious metals. We've made the kind of the joking phrase that he's going to go to the beach, but he probably will, because there'll be nothing to sell. He won't know what to sell it for, and he won't know what he's going to be able to buy it for. But I'm telling you, the line in the sand is $25. When that breaks, okay, we're going to see silver go limit up, and it's going to explode, and it'll. My first target is just under $70. This thing's going to go in a single day. So it's going to be crazy what's about to happen. So, those who have listened to Andrew, listened to Pastor Dave, listened to myself, and are sitting on the fence, when it happens, it will be too late. So sitting on the fence means you chose poorly, because you will not have an opportunity to react. It will happen so quick that everything will just completely come to a halt, and there will be nothing to buy.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew or Pastor Dave. What are you hearing?
Well, right now is really the sweet spot because in November there was a huge shortage of silver, and the premiums were the highest I've ever seen. Like Silver Eagles were selling for $40 for 1 ounce of silver, and that's when silver was literally like $21.50 an ounce. So like I've never seen the premiums so high in my life, but we've run into a lucky time of the year because this is a time when the sovereign mints are minting their 2023 issues that will come out in January, and many of them have come out this month. So we were completely dried up on almost all silver and gold, and now it's been replenished with the gold and silver that comes every single year at this time. And typically in tough times, U.S. Mint would sell out of their initial run of gold and silver in about March. I think it's going to be gone in January. I think it will, not just for United States, but for the Royal Mint in Canada and in England and all the mints out there. So people have been given a reprieve and a second chance to be able to get back into gold and silver before it takes off.
Yeah. We brought 100 people with us to a little over about 100 people to Israel, and there was many people that bought silver and gold from you, Andrew. And I didn't approach them; they came to me, and they said they were so thankful. It went smoother than they thought, and they're so thankful that they got it and are waiting for the movement. So that was good, a good report card.
Oh, that's great. I love to hear that, and that's the majority of the reason why I keep doing this. It's the goal of what we're doing here is shifted to spreading the word and holding people's hands through the process of making their initial gold or silver investments. It's awesome.
Yep.
Fantastic. And that's the point of why I become friends with Andrew, because I've listened, I've seen what he's done with HisGlory, and then for a while now we've been using you, and it's been incredible. The most important thing, all I know about precious metals is that you either have it or you don't. That's the essence of everything going on in the world. Right now, they want you to believe that, trust us, we'll take care of you. Everything's based upon faith and confidence, okay? And so let's kind of get into the nitty-gritty of this interview, right? Because, Pastor Dave, you've been away. I don't know if you know what's going on in the Supreme Court, but there is a docket that's been filed. It's really interesting how this is all playing out. So we've talked about Leviticus, thou shalt consecrate the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout the land and to all of its inhabitants. Okay, well, that's great. And what does that mean? It means liberty throughout the land. And so what have they done and how have they done it? Basically, we've got a government, education system, a political system, a media system, everything is now a captured entity. And how do they capture it? With the money. And for generations now, we've been using this fiat-based money system. But, at some point, anytime you study history of money, you'll come to realize there's not one currency that's ever existed forever, except gold and silver. Right. Everything comes to an end. And so fiat money at some point will come to an end. The US dollar, this is the longest run of fiat money's ever had value. But anything and everything, all currencies at some point have to come to an end. And because they've been manipulating these things so incredibly for so long, at some point, something's got to give. So those that don't know the magnitude of this case, you can do some research on the internet. Now, what makes this really interesting is the timing of these events that went down. So we've talked about, the year of Jubilee. We've talked about abortion in prior interviews, yep. Right? So this is 50 years of abortion. It was abortion itself on December 11th of 71. Roe v. Wade was first argued in Supreme Court, which would take it to December 11th of 2021. But it became law on January 22nd of 1973, which would go to January 22nd of 2023 would be 50 years. Okay, so we got this window of time that we're sitting in the very tail end of it right now. But remember, when we overturned Roe v. Wade, this is the key, is Romans 8, verse 31. It says, if God is with us, who could be against us? Well, Israel knows all about that, because how many wars did they go to and no one could touch them?
Yep.
because God was with them. And so we had Klaus Schwab, also World Economic Forum in 71. And then we also had, this is the big one, the biggie here too. Well, the biggest one was abortion, Roe v. Wade. But the second biggie would be specifically Nixon taking us off the gold standard. And, if your staff can pop on slide 6, you can see very clearly what happened is on slide 6, it basically shows you when Nixon, it took 100 years to make the first $1 trillion. And in 71, they detached gold from the dollar. And you see this massive spike in money printing. So that's how they did it all. But remember, the dollar itself is based on what? Faith and confidence. So imagine the truth coming out in the Supreme Court docket. Mm-hmm. What would Andrew, what would that do to faith and confidence in the U.S. dollar?
It would shatter it immediately. It'd be dead on the spot.
Right.
And
so,
then
and just to put this in perspective, what we're talking about, I was talking to somebody, a general, about this morning privately. If this goes through, this would be the largest Supreme Court ruling in the history of the country ever, times a gazillion.
Right.
Wow.
Now this gets better. Because that, as great as the docket is, and it filed in the Supreme Court, there's more layers that make it better yet. So if your staff can go to page 7, please. So page 7 basically shows you what happens to people if you try to sell oil in anything but the U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
Look what happened to Saddam Hussein. Okay, he tried in 1999. He started to trade oil in the euro. He's gone. They killed him. Look what happened to Gaddafi.
Gaddafi, yep, Benghazi.
Pronounced his name correctly. Libya in 2009 started to trade oil for the gold dinar, and they killed him. So now, if you go to page 8, guess what just happened? On March 24th of 2022. Putin demands payment for oil and gas in the ruble. That is an act of war based on history. However, it's a big problem right now. Who did it was a superpower, a military superpower. So it's a little more complicated than Libya or Iraq.
Right.
Understand the magnitude of this, right? So this is incredible how this is playing out right now. So if you go to page 9, back to this ruling, this puts layers of wow factor on the Supreme Court docket. So we know that Rosh Hashanah was September 24th, 25th, okay? The writ was received by the Supreme Court on Friday, September 23rd. They had to receive it on Friday because the next day is Saturday, right?
Yep.
So the 24 is this massively powerful number that God is using to show us that he's involved in all of this. I'm going to repeat that. God is using the number 24 to show the world that he is involved in all of this. Mm-hmm. It gets better yet. So then once they received it, there's a couple of phone calls went back and forth. And then the case itself was docketed with the Supreme Court, means stamped by the Supreme Court on, guess what? October 24th. You can't make this stuff up. And I was on your show, Nino Rodriguez's show, We Love Trump website with Noah, numerous websites all over the place in June, July, August, repeatedly stating, I gave the dates, September 24th, and the next one was October 24th. It went by, and everyone's calling it a nothing burger, only to find out what was the date? Possibly the greatest Supreme Court case ever filed.
Yep.
And it was docketed on October 24th. So all I have to tell you is you can take the Supreme Court case and you layer timelines onto it, and you can't make this stuff up. It's just not possible for it to be playing out this way. But what? It is. Go ahead, Pastor Dave.
And what are they? They're trumpet players.
Bingo. All 4 of them.
All 4 of them.
You can't make this stuff up. So, faith and confidence. How many times have we talked about faith and confidence on your show? It's all about faith and confidence. My cycle analysis, basically I wrote back in October and then in November, this is my November 1 writing, basically stating that Bitcoin, and this is important, is going to break below 19,000 on when? November 8th. I wrote this 4 to 5 weeks before it happened, Pastor Dave. Andrew.
Unbelievable.
What I'm trying to tell you is cycles precede events. So the cycle already had in its pattern the collapse of Bitcoin, and we end up finding that FTX was the culprit. On page 13, you can see the pattern, and it basically illustrates it, what it did. And it basically, the top pattern was a historic pattern, and it collapsed specifically on the 8th, exactly like the cycle foretold. Now, I don't want the glory in this. I'm just illustrating the importance of this, because that was November 8th and 9th was the collapse. And then we only come to find out on the back end, 2020, right? Hindsight's 2020, that it was because of FTX. Exactly. We didn't know why it was collapsing. We just knew it collapsed. Later, a few days later, we come to find out it was because of FTX, or a couple of days later. So my point being is, if you go to page 14, the same cycle that predicted the collapse of Bitcoin, there's another, I'm not going to say whether it's up or down because it's for my subscribers, it doesn't really matter, but there's a massive, important time point next week, the 13th of December. The same cycle that predicted the collapse on November 8th is now predicting a very important date on December 13th, which just happens to be 40 days from the day Netanyahu got elected.
Wow.
And you know in the Bible how important the number 40 is, Pastor Dave.
Yeah, it's a wilderness.
It's all over the Bible. 40 days, 40 nights. You can just, there's numerous examples of, how everything changed in 40 days. So does something big trigger next week? So on December 13th, I don't know, but I'm sure Zach paying attention. And if something big happens, we're going to know. But I'm telling you, the December 13th is it's 40 days from when Netanyahu got elected. But more important, that's not the important. It's the cycle that predicted the crash in November of FTX and Bitcoin under 19,000 is now foretelling a key critical point labeled as December 13th. So what happens? Again, I don't know. I'm giving the date because what do? I analyze time.
I was told today, just about 2 hours ago before you came on, because I just got confirmation that Benjamin Netanyahu is coming on HisGlory, that the reason we have to wait till he forms his government, and they think it's going to be formed on the 13th. I had no idea you had that in the chart.
I see, that's the thing, right? All I can do is show time points, and then we find out. So, like October 24th, could have been a stock market crash. I don't know what's supposed to happen October 24th. It was a guess because I calculate time, not events.
Right.
My title is Analyst of Time, and so lo and behold, like this, when you go back to 2020 hindsight, the greatest case ever potentially filed in the Supreme Court ends up being on October 24th. You cannot make this stuff up, because why? It happened.
Have you heard that one of the Brunsons speak? I haven't heard it in detail, but what I've told from a high level, that he calls it a set of miracles to get them to where they're at right now.
Yes. Yeah, I've listened to the interview, and Nino Rodriguez had him on his show. I'm going to be with Nino this weekend. But Nino Rodriguez had him on, and when he was talking with one of the Brunson brothers, the oldest one, and then he gave him the dates, and he goes, and then it was docketed on October 24th. And Nino stopped and goes, "What? What day?" He goes, "Monday, October 24th." Nino's like, "What? October 24th?" Bo, that's the Bo date. That's the date, Bo. It's just, I don't care the glory. I'm just pointing out, because God gets the glory, His glory, right? The point is, it was by design. It was by design. And so all we're watching is these historic things unfold. If your staff, if you can click on page 15, just some classic examples, right? Russia and Saudi Arabia signed a military agreement on August 24th of 21.
Yep.
The Ukraine-Russia war starts on February 24th. Oil for rubles, this is like the biggie, this is the act of war right here, okay, was on March 24th. Roe v. Wade, June 24th. Now, on September 24th, Rosh Hashanah, the pound, the British pound plummets, and also the Supreme Court receives the writ. And then on 10/24, the case is docketed. And also that's the time that Rishi Sunak is elected by the British Parliament. So, and then the next big date was 11/24, and that was when they were supposed to have the first hearing. So more is going to come out about November 24th. We're just waiting to see what exactly happened, but that was a day that they were supposed to respond. They were supposed to respond on November 23rd, which was the day before Thanksgiving.
Who was supposed to respond?
Supreme Court.
Oh.
The defense was supposed to respond, and they waived their right to responding. That was a miracle.
Amazing.
Wow.
So we've got December 24th. Something happened. I don't know. My charts point to a military conflict. The last time this cycle chart played out shows a military conflict or a war the end of January. So we'll see what plays out. But basically, we got some really big dates ahead of us here. We got the 13th of December. Then we got the 24th of December. I don't know. I'm just saying I don't have a reason for that except that it's December 24th. But I do know 40 days and 40 nights, from when we're out to Netanyahu, the 13th of December is very important. We'll see if anything happens on December 24th. And I really feel strong about the cycle charts for the end of January. With regard to military conflict, possibly, my best guess, it could be something else goes down. We don't know. But at the end of January is supposed to be epic. And that also lines up with 50 years to the mark when Roe v. Wade became law.
Wow.
So we're just watching, but we are like at the tail end here, Pastor Dave and Andrew. So those who don't have their precious metals, I don't know what to tell you. But when this event goes down, faith and confidence is going to be lost in a heartbeat. Gold and silver go moonshot, okay? And gold's going to go to over $4,000 in a single day. Silver's going to go to, somewhere just under $70 potentially in a single day. And that is not only, that is the start of the greatest bull market in human history. We are living in this crazy historic time point where the window of time, to protect yourself and your family, particularly your family, is so small right now. It's so small right now. David, what can you add?
Yeah, I'll flip it to Andrew, but before I do, I want to rephrase to the HisGlory family. God ultimately has it. If you don't have the finances to do it, God has you. But if you do have the finances, it's always wise to invest wisely. And we've seen many people when I was in Israel that did that, and they feel very confident. I did that. I feel very confident for what I know is going to happen and what I've seen already happen. Andrew, you want to touch on that?
Oh yeah, people should reach out right away. It's you might have the means to invest in gold and silver, and you may not even know it. You can roll over a retirement account to own gold and silver. You can roll over annuities. There's all sorts of different things that you can exit out of to get into gold and silver. And we're also going to serve you. We're going to look after your best interests as well. Example, we have people that will say, I've got 150,000 in my checking account and I want to go with gold and silver. And I say, okay, great. Is $150,000 a portion of your checking account that you wish to invest? And they go, no, that's everything. I go, so then how would you pay your bills and buy food? And they go, well, typically out of the 150,000. So then we just sort of talk them down from the ledge a little bit and try to get them to responsibly invest, because Bo will definitely agree with this, that you don't want to find yourself investing in physical gold and silver and then having to sell it back in a month or two.
Right.
And yes, you can do it, and we're always buying. Yes, if there's an emergency, absolutely. But you do need to have enough cash on hand to take care of what you do need to take care of on a monthly basis or even on a yearly basis. So it's and really the supplies are here right now. And most people are just gonna follow the herd. Once any of these events happen that both Pastor Dave and Bo have spoke of, and all the other things that have been on the back burner for years, it just takes one of those events to to happen and unfold the way we know it will, for gold and silver to completely dry up. 2 billionaires or 3 billionaires can go in and just buy a huge chunk of gold and silver, and that will hurt the physical gold and silver market. The market's that small.
And I do know a billionaire that's looking into making a huge purchase too.
Absolutely. Now, for people that like Elon Musk and follow him, and you see there's Twitter people that just, if he just says any cryptocurrency he's looking at, they just jump on it. Anything that he wants to do, everyone else wants to do. Imagine if Elon Musk just went on Twitter and said, I just bought $50 million worth of gold. I mean, that would just, it would wipe out much of the physical gold on hand and the physical silver. I know that there's a lot more gold than that out there, but as far as available supply for just regular people that are not part of government, the governments or the banks behind the governments, there's really not that much there. People need to get in now.
Yeah, I want to add, get both your input on this, because, you hear a lot of people saying nothing's happening, this deadline passed, they're getting away with it, nothing news under the sun.
Everything's controlled. All aspects of what we know, right? So I'm going to reiterate, the church, the financial system, the family, education, government, entertainment, and media are all captured. So they can do anything and everything they constantly want, because anything that comes out they can suppress. Even like with what they're doing with Elon, they're making fun of him, right? And all the media tag teams, they have the same script, the same narrative, and they keep pushing it up, because who is Satan? He's a master of the airways.
Yep.
Okay, so you have to understand, we got good. This is good versus evil. What happened with the army of Gideon? They all turned on one another. And so when I went to Texas on Rosh Hashanah, we blew the trumpets, and I don't know if you know the whole story, Dave, but 300 people showed up to the mark at that conference, and then 30 shofars blew that night. And so the army of Gideon is now assembled. Mm-hmm. And that happened on the same date the Supreme Court received the docket. You can't make this stuff up.
No.
And all of it's happening. So they control the narrative right now because they can. Remember, so worldwide, this is Babylon the Great. It started as the United States, but now with the money, they become drunk with Babylon, right? If you read Revelation 18, they become drunk with her. And so now all the nations are drunk with Babylon, so they control all the world right now. And that's what's going on. But in a moment's time, Revelation 17 or 18, in a single day, the kings of the earth will weep and wail. So when the truth comes out, the army, like what happened when Gideon, they showed up, they're all done, okay? It just is 100,000 plus versus 300. It was incredible, but it happened. And so we're about to witness biblical events go down. Remember, when God intervenes, we're talking earthquakes.
Yep.
We're talking volcanoes. Well, we just saw a massive volcano pop off in Hawaii, and hasn't moved in 40 years. And that's just a start. We're supposed to see San Francisco have a massive earthquake. So all of these things are about to unfold here on top of all the truths coming out. So God is literally lining up all the pieces, and then the kill shot comes, and that's the strike. That strike is no different when Moses put out the staff, right? And the sea parted. And then when he put the staff out again, and brought it back out again, and the sea closed. Mm-hmm. And it was what? It was over. The water came down on Pharaoh and his army, and it was over in a single day. So all I'm saying is, people say, nothing's happened. Yes, Pastor Dave referenced a whole bunch of things that are happening, but I still agree. We haven't seen that glory yet. Behind David says, his glory. Yeah. His glory is going to manifest. I'm going to repeat, his glory is about to manifest to be one of the greatest move of God's spirits ever in the history of the world. And all of these pieces, the dominoes that are set up right now, are going to come down like a brick house.
And he keeps telling me, I keep telling you guys this, and he told me again on the flight back from Israel, he said, expect the unexpected. You keep saying you can't make this stuff up. The reason you can't make this stuff up is because it's God, and he's not going to share the glory with some man. There was no great plan that this all came together. It's going to be his hand on it.
Yes.
Amazing.
Oh, and to top this off, Pastor Dave, I don't know if real briefly, if your staff can pop on page 19, after Israel, my wife and I shot out to Switzerland, and that day when we went to the top of the world, top of Europe, I found out that I walked into a Sphinx. Look at the picture.
Wow.
It's a Sphinx at the top of Europe. And before I went, God said to me, take your camera and declare, let my people go at the top of Europe. I didn't know any of this until I got there, only to find out that I'm stepping into a Sphinx at 1:24 p.m. I stepped off the elevator into the Sphinx at 11,700 feet plus, the top of Europe, and we called out to the world, the pharaohs of this world, let my people go. It's finished. It's finished. We blew the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. We've declared to the world, let my people go to the top of Europe. Why Europe? Well, why Switzerland? Because that's where CERN is. That's where the World Economic Forum is. That's where Klaus Schwab is. That's where the hub of this. And why would they build a Sphinx at the top of Europe in Switzerland? Look at the picture. I have no idea except pharaohs of old. Remember, we talked about 400 years, beginning of this presentation, 400 years of Israel and Pharaoh, and they were freed, and they built another Sphinx at the top of Europe. And we're about to see Leviticus play out, the 50-year Jubilee, the 400-year cycle of this described in Genesis is about to unfold right before our very eyes. And it will happen, how? In a single day, because that's all God needs. Just like the Red Sea.
Yep. He formed the nation of Israel literally in 10 minutes. One day. It was formed in May 14th, 1948. One thing I want to reiterate again to the HisGlory family, the reason that this financial boom is coming back to his bride, the church, is not for us to have private jets and be rich and go on vacation and do all that. It's to get the word of the gospel out to all corners so that money is not an obstacle for us to save every soul before it's time.
Absolutely. Pastor Dave, if your staff can please click on page 33, that'll describe what we're talking about. So the 50-year Jubilee, right, is the end of the rope. We're basically worn out. Like, raise your hand, people, if you're out there listening. How many are at the end of your rope?
Yeah.
Like, how many people are at the end of your rope? Because it's the end of the 50 years, right? That's the end of the rope, and that's what? That's when the revival, that's when God's revival begins. It's the beginning. When you're worn out and there's no other option, and it's like there is no other hope. It's over. It's finished. We're toast. Just like Israel at the Red Sea. That was 50 years. They were at the end of their rope. Moses, why have you brought us here to die? Only to find out God had a bigger plan.
Yep.
A bigger plan. And that was only the start for God. Amen. So we're about to see the greatest revival in human history. This is going to be insane what's about to happen. Remember, blessings are 30, 60, 100-fold. That just doesn't mean financial. Okay, we talked about finances here because if you have a means of repair, maybe you should. We're not telling you need to or do anything. We're simply saying if what Pastor Dave, myself, and Andrew are talking will make sense, maybe you should prepare for you and your family. But forget about the finances for a second and just talk about blessings. We're talking the Holy Spirit. 30, 60, 100-fold blessings. These stadiums, that are for soccer, like right now, the World Cup, they're going to be stacked with 40, 50, 100,000 people shouting Jesus. That's the revival that's coming because it's the blessings that are coming that are not only financial, but it's spiritual. The Holy Spirit, because Haggai 2 verse 9, I think it states, the latter rain will be greater than the former. And the monies that are coming will be to build God's church. Yep. So we can do what? Separate ourselves. So everyone's so freaked out about the financial system. They're coming out with this digital currency in December and all, the mark of the beast system. Listen, people, I want to be so clear about this. And Pastor Dave, if I'm wrong, please address this, okay? But before the beast system, the mark of the beast system comes out, Because if it came out right now in December or January or early next year, right, then basically all the church, the bride would be, sorry for my French, but screwed. Like, we'd have no other way. But God's the what? He's the way maker. So he's going to make a way with the finances, so the blessings that are coming, it's going to be trillions of dollars of blessings that come to the church for one specific reason alone. So we can be blessed to be a blessing to those around us, so that we, the bride, can separate ourselves from the world. Because we're to be in the world, but not of the world. And that is scriptural. God will make a way for his bride. So don't try to tell me, people, that the mark of the beast system is right around the corner and we're basically finished, because it ain't going to happen. Not with my God in charge.
No, he's got, the heart of the Lord when you read the word from Genesis 1 to Revelation 22. The heart is a patient, loving God, and he loves us so much that he's gonna have this end time revival to open the hearts. We got the Joel 2 movement that's going to be upon us. Amen.
Yeah, that's exactly what I feel and how this is all going to go down. And in closing, all I can say is the Jubilee is here. This is the 50-year mark. Not only is the 50-year mark, it's the 400-year mark, which makes it extremely powerful. So it's not only 50 years, it's 400 years, 8 cycles of them. We're at 50 years of that. Actually, if your staff can just quickly click on to page 16, you'll find this interesting as well too. Page 16 shows you very clearly, the World War I, right? So the Treaty of Berlin was signed on August 25th of 1921.
Wow.
50 years later, you got abortion. 50 years later was the fall of Kabul in August, again to the exact day. And then incredibly, it's 100 years to the mark. So we signed a treaty, the United States and Germany signed the Treaty of Berlin to end World War I for the United States on August 25th of 1921, only for an act of war to begin on August 24th, 100 years to the mark, when Russia signed a military agreement with Saudi Arabia. You can't make this stuff up. It's 100 years to the exact mark. So we talk about abortion, 50 years. So that takes us from 2021 to 2023. Roe v. Wade was overturned on June 24th. Okay, and remember after 9/11, everyone's praying Second Chronicles, Pastor Dave, 9/11. And what was Second Chronicles 9/11, everyone's praying this all over the internet. If the people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and heal their land.
Yep.
Pastor Dave and Andrew, God's never healed our land. Even though we've been praying after 9/11, Second Chronicles, over and over again, it's all over the internet. Why? Because it says, and turn from their wicked ways. You see, so we had abortion.
Yep.
We never turned from our wicked ways after 9/11. Even though we were praying Second Chronicles, it never happened because it was only 30 years. We needed 20 more years. How crazy is this? So then 50 years go by, and now we overturn Roe v. Wade. And now God is with us. If God is with us, who could be against us? So we're about to witness 3 biblical scriptures manifest right in front of us. Well, many more, but I'm going to reference 3 right here. But I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and restore their land. Second Chronicles is about to happen because we've overturned Roe v. Wade. And you shall consecrate the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout the land and all of its inhabitants. Leviticus 25, verse 10. And then I've mentioned this one on your show numerous times as well. It's Isaiah 61. And the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to bring the good news to the poor. And he has sent me to comfort the brokenhearted and to proclaim that the captives will be released. And this is it. And the prisoners will be freed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. We're here. And this is the last point, the day of vengeance of our God. Yep. So back to why we not see anything? Because we haven't seen Isaiah 61, the last line. And you said it, Dave, very clearly. God, Jesus Christ, read the script in the temple, but he closed it on a comma.
He did.
Never read the last part, the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God. So I don't care what anybody has to say. I know that my God is about to fulfill Isaiah 61, and that we're about to witness the day of vengeance of our God, and the kings of the earth will weep and wail in a single day.
Yeah.
Andrew,
Wow.
I'm done.
Now, what do they do? Now, what do they do with that now, Andrew? What action items?
Well, it's been such a powerful interview. I've just been sitting here just soaking it all in. I've heard it so many times, but just put together is just like the action item would be go to our website, go to bh-pm.com, click on the red button that says first time customer, and just reach out to us. If at the very least, just to say hello, but really put your name, phone number, email address, and just a couple sentences about why you've reached out. You might have a 401k that you want to learn how to roll into one that holds precious metals and have it be a non-taxable event. We'll help you with that. It can be an old IRA. Maybe you're done trying to wait for the stock market to rebound. It's not. We're in the middle of a down cycle.
Yep.
So if you want to stop the bleeding and protect yourself, get some gold and silver. This is not a taxable event. We can show you how it's not. If you're looking to add some gold or silver to what you currently have, just fill out the form. We've been very good at getting with people very quickly. I don't think we've heard too much people reaching out saying, hey, the people over at Beverly Hills have not been following up with me. We've been on top of every submission. We've got a huge staff. So please do it before it's too late, because historically, most people will reach out at the same time, and not just to our company, but to all the companies out there. And the wait times to be able to receive the gold and silver that you've purchased or invested in can be quite long when you wait till when everybody else is doing it. So reach out right away.
Yeah, because if you wait, you mentioned this before, and it starts to take off. This is where the scam artists come out of the woodwork to try to make a buck. And you got to go with somebody you trust. You've been doing it, what, 39 years?
Yes, it's been 30 plus years, and really that's what happens. That's when the scammers come out. When Bitcoin was riding high and marching to almost 100,000 for one Bitcoin, that's when you heard the most stories about these crypto scams. And now that it's cooled off, people are moving to other things. They were involved in PPP loans for a while there, and they will be back into gold and silver. They've actually never left, but there are some unscrupulous people out there that would love to take advantage of the fact that you're scared. So it's better to deal with companies that are sponsored by people that you love and trust. It's sometimes people will say, well, how do I know I'll receive my gold and silver? How long have you been listening to Pastor Dave? Or how long have you been listening to the prophets? How long have you been following Bo Polny? And we just take it right off the table. And people give us a chance. They put their trust in us, and we do right by them.
Yeah, I'd say the last thing to add again, just reiterate what happens when 10% of the population wakes up.
Oh, yes. So it's estimated that about 2% of the people in America understand the value of gold and silver in regards to what it can do for your portfolio and in acting as insurance for your portfolio. Really just 2% of all Americans. So if an event or a series of events were to happen, and if that 2% were to go to 10%, that really would wipe out all of the available supply of gold and silver. And it can happen. It really can happen, and don't wait. So people are waking up because we have alternative news outlets like this one, where you can get the truth. And for decades, you've not been able to get that. So I would expect it to move closer to 10% than closer to 1%.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed here in the studio, we always have 3 different news sources going just to try to get it, and every one of the news sources, different channels, is always playing silver and gold now. They're advertising for silver and gold, so they know something's coming.
Yep, and I still tune in to CNBC every single day and just kind of watch what they're talking about, and I realize that that's not the real news, but they do get the financial analysts on there, and they start analyzing the market, and they're always talking about gold. They're talking about gold, but I know that the firms that they work for are not out there pushing gold. But they have to say it because it lends credibility to them, because we know that the day is coming. And for people out there that might have doubt that gold or silver could ever have their day, just look at every type of investment. Real estate has hit all-time highs. We've seen cryptocurrency hit all-time highs and then pull back. We've seen stocks hit their all-time highs. The only thing we've not seen hit all-time high is silver. Like we've seen gold get very close, but we've not seen silver, and that's because it's being suppressed by the big banks, and we know for a fact that it can't be done for much longer. So our day's coming.
Yep.
I can just say this: gold and silver will never have value in a Babylonian money system that we live in right now. Period. However, what do we talk about? You know, Dave's show, Pastor Dave, his glory. I'm telling you, his glory is about to manifest. Whether you believe or not, when it happens, you're going to go, wow, that was incredible. Okay. When it happens, all the dealers will close their doors because they won't know what to sell it for, because gold just jumped over $4,000. Silver just went to $60 to $70 in a single day. So the dealers will not be selling. eBay will be sold out, or all the dealers on eBay will be gone. So you'll see in a single day, all eBay will be finished with silver and gold selling. It's in a single day. Okay, it's all going to be taken care of in a single day, and it'll just be too late. And why would that happen? Because when his glory manifests, I'll close on this. What does Haggai 2 verse 8 say? The silver and the gold are mine, saith the Lord.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You mentioned the book of Revelation several times. The only thing that's still in there is silver and gold. It didn't say the U.S. dollar or the denarius or the shekel.
And don't throw the scripture at me that, they will throw their gold and silver in the streets. Okay, that's them, they, not my children who are called by my name. And that's wrong timing. We're not talking about that time. We're the wrong time. That's a wrong scripture for the wrong for this time right now. We're not there yet. Yep. We're years away from they will throw their gold and silver in the streets.
Yeah, because this blessing is to grow the kingdom, and that's exactly why he told me a year ago, my son, Amen. Start doing tent revivals because revival is coming.
Amen.
And that's the number one thing on our plate for 2023 is tent revivals. So God's always right. I just have to listen to him more often. When I don't, he gets my attention. Anything closing for you both?
I would say just thank you for all of your support over this year. I'm sure we'll be on here one more time this year, but it's been a fun ride, and I'm happy to have been doing it with the HisGlory family and now with Bo Polny. But really, people just reach out to us. It's we're not gonna try to get you to do something you don't want to do. Just have a conversation with myself or one of my representatives. Go to BH-PM, read the different links that we have on our website. There's a lot of information there that could support why you need to own gold and silver, and that is my solution for today.
Yeah, to me.
I'll finish on saying this. Read the story of Lazarus. Lazarus died. He's dead. The United States is about to do the same. The United States is about to do what Lazarus did. The United States is about to die. It's going to look scary and ugly. It will look scary and ugly, but know that God is in complete control. God is going to take down Babylon. It's about to come down. It's going to look ugly and scary, and people are going to be just blown away of what is going on right in front of them. There will be freaking out. This is going to be crazy, okay? Everything you know is about to come to a complete stop. But again, God's got this. Yep. He's in complete control. Because remember, when the glory manifests, it's something going to be, we don't know what it is, but it's going to be powerful beyond powerful. And so everything's going to come to a screeching halt, just like what happened to Lazarus.
Yep.
But then why did Jesus leave him in the tomb for 4 days? So that the world might see his glory. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Yep. It could only be God. That's the only one that could deliver him, and God is the only one that can deliver us through his beloved Son. So this is the season. Thank you both. God bless you, and we'll see you back on again before the end of the year.
Thank you so much. Take care. God bless.
All right, take care. God bless. And that wraps up our interview with Bo and Andrew. For such a time as this, if you have the resources, do it. You can see the events happening right before our very eyes. If you don't, God has it. But the most important thing is trust God, no matter how ugly it's going to get, because it is, and it has. He's got it in light winds. That's what he's always asking us every day. How much do you trust me, son or daughter? And when you have that shalom and that peace and that trust, that no matter what it looks like around you, he's going to deliver you. What can Satan do to you? It's a win-win, as Mike Lindell says. God bless you, and go in his shalom.
Beverly Hills Precious Metals Exchange is a client-focused firm devoted to assisting our clients with precious metals. Our clients range from first-time to serious coin collectors and investors seeking to add precious metals to their investment portfolios. We are not interested in volatile investments, leveraged products, and intangible assets. With rising inflation and the devaluing of the dollar hurting middle-class families, investing in gold and silver ensures protection for your hard-earned money. Save the value of your money today by investing in gold and silver at Beverly Hills Precious Metals.